to roll. Is it? 59. We're almost there. Where's the? We'll call the regular city council meeting to order. Clearlake City Hall, Council Chambers, 14050 Olympic Drive, Clearlake, California, at 6 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Overton? Here. Councilmember Claffey?
Here.
Councilmember Kramer?
Here.
Vice Mayor Purdock?
Here.
Mayor Slutin?
Present. All right. Pledge of Allegiance, please stand. Councilman Kramer, would you do the honors?
I'd be honored to do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice Mayor Purdock, would you do the invocation, please?
I'd be honored, sir. My friends, law enforcement community in Lake County lost two good men in the past few weeks. Jeffrey B. Markham of the Lake County Sheriff's Department, former chief deputy, passed away. And then, of course, Chief Kevin Burke, former chief of police for the city of Lakeport, also lost his life recently. So if you would, please keep them in your prayer. Father in heaven, we are so grateful to come today together as city leadership and those in our community. We ask for your Spirit to be with us, to lead us and guide us so we may make good decisions that will bring this city forward and continue to follow our strategic plan of making this a cleaner, safer, and better managed city. Father, we bless those who are out working this evening and through the days to make this again a better place. We say all this and bring this to you in your Son's holy name. Amen.
Amen. Adoption of the agenda. I want to move to add an emergency item to tonight's agenda. It is the resolution of the City of Clearlake to submit Burns Valley Sports Complex and Recreation Project for consideration as community funding. And if we adopt the...
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we have a vote.
So it's a two-step vote. This will be just a vote to put it on the agenda.
Yep.
Right.
It takes 4/5 to do that, and then we can, if it's approved, then you can actually vote to pass the resolution.
Thank you, sir.
You'll probably need to do a roll call vote on this one because it's not on the agenda.
Councilmember Kramer?
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey?
Aye.
Councilmember Overton?
Aye. Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock?
Aye.
Mayor Slutin?
Aye, and this item will be at the first item of new business, which is going to be before item number 16. Okay, we'll go now to
We can do it now, can't we?
presentations.
You still need to adopt the agenda, though.
Oh,
Well,
I
you
thought
can
that's
move
what we
to-
did.
No, you added another item. to the
Oh, okay.
agenda.
Yeah, could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we'll move on to presentations.
We have to vote.
Police Department Employee Recognition, Chief White.
Thought we had to vote electronically for that one, too.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, and family and support network for those being recognized tonight. Tonight we have the opportunity to recognize several of our employees for outstanding performance last year. As you're likely all aware, Our program works by peer-based nominations. We review all those nominations, and they make a decision on individuals to recognize. I can tell you that this year was exceptionally challenging because it's the broadest range of nominations that I've seen, which I think is a reflection on the excellent work that all of our members are performing across the organization. But certainly tonight we have the opportunity to recognize 3 different individuals across our divisions, which I'll be having each one of the division commanders talk about the recipient of the awards. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Hobbs.
Good evening, mayors, member of the council. The first award we have for tonight is going to be the Officer of the Year for sworn employees. The recipient of this award is a department member who has exceeded the requirements expected of their position. The employee gives more than asked and will often make sacrifices for the greater good of the department. The employee that stood out in 2021 was Detective Leonardo Flores. Come on, Detective Flores joined the Clearlake Police Department in 2015. He's been a patrol officer, a field training officer, and became a detective in 2018. Detective Flores is dedicated to the department, is always willing to assist others, whether it be translating or helping less experienced officers write search warrants. Detective Flores has helped other employees and volunteers with personal matters during his off time and goes out of his way to help. Detective Flores has a great attitude, works great with other members of the department, and is a valuable asset to our department.
Stay.
Hello, members of the council. I have the honor of presenting 2 awards tonight. First, I'd like to call up the volunteer, Marty. Please come on up, Marty. Members of the council, I'd like to introduce you to Marty Foltz. Marty is one of our volunteers. Marty joined the volunteer program in 2017. She quickly transferred into the YANA program. If you're not familiar with the program, it's the You Are Not Alone. It's geared towards individuals or seniors that live alone. She makes calls with several other volunteers to the citizens to just check in on them, see if they need any services, just to be that, voice that somebody's there to talk to. Because we do have a large, senior community. As she was doing the program, the COVID pandemic hit, and we ran the program out of the station. So Marty decided that she would bring the project in her own home. She took what they call the YANA book, which is the book that has all the members in it, home. And she continued through the entire COVID pandemic, working with the other members and running the YANA program from her home with her equipment and her time. Unfortunately, last year, Marty was a resident of the city of Clearlake. Unfortunately, last year, Marty lost her home in the large fires that we had, and the Cache Creek fire specifically. During the evacuation, Marty ran in and grabbed the YANA book over her own personal effects because she did not want to lose all the contact information for the clients. Marty unfortunately lost her home and is now living in Lakeport. However, Marty continues to run the program from her home in Lakeport and comes to our monthly meetings at the station. So I would like to read the plaque. Do you hear, Marty? All right. Marty, this is an appreciation of your outstanding service to the department and the community. Congratulations on a job well done. Code Enforcement Officer Garrett Cohen. Come on, please. All right, the second award I'm giving is for the Support Services Division, which covers dispatch, records, communication, evidence, code enforcement, and animal control. So it's a wide variety of units. So Garrett joined the Code Enforcement Division in December of 2018. He's a very proactive man. He's always helpful to others. The officer cited that he is always there to assist them on calls. He is quick to help them with towing of vehicles, removing of vehicles, standing by while the officers deal with transports and other higher priority calls. He has made numerous stolen vehicle recoveries because he's out there being proactive, and part of his job is vehicles, and as he's out there, he's located numerous vehicles. I believe he located one today. All right, so good job, Garrett.
It was stolen this morning.
It was stolen this morning. Everybody unanimously said that he is just a happy person. He's nice to talk to. He's very helpful. Garrett, I'd like to present you with the award. All right, Garrett, in recognition of your performance, great attitude, and willingness to help others, thank you for making Clearlake a better place.
Thank you.
Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, council members and members of the public, for allowing us the opportunity to recognize their accomplishments. And most importantly, thank you to all the family members that came to support. I know these individuals can't do what they do without your support, so thank you very much. With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd ask if we could have like a 2-minute break just to let those people that
Sure.
need to get back to work go,
Sure.
if that'd be okay. Thank
Thanks.
you.
A little break here. 2-minute break. All right, we'll reconvene and start with the other presentations. This is a proclamation declaring April 10th to 16, 2022 as Public Safety Telecommunication Week. Whereas emergencies can occur any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of the information obtained from citizens who telephone the Clearlake Police Department Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activity by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Clearlake Police Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Therefore, it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Clearlake declares the week of April 10th through 16th, 2022, to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of Clearlake, in honor of the men and women who diligently and professionally keep our city and citizens safe. Signed by me, Mayor Dirk Slotin. Do we have somebody that?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to invite up Sherry Van Est, who oversees the Records and Communications Division, and thank you for recognizing the work of our dispatchers. They do an incredible job and often are unseen, but we couldn't do the work without them, so we appreciate this opportunity. And to anybody who wants to, it's all next week. If you want to just call in on the non-emergency line and say thank you, I'm sure they would appreciate that. And they won't bite through the phone line, so it's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speech.
Chief did it.
Okay, the next item is a presentation of a proclamation declaring April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas approximately 3 million children are reported abused and neglected in the United States each year. It's estimated that over 1,700 children die from abuse and neglect in a single year. Whereas our children are our most valuable resource and will shape the future of Lake County. And whereas child abuse prevention is a community problem, all citizens should become more aware of the effects of child abuse and its prevention. And finding solutions depends on involvement of people throughout the community. And whereas community must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and their family. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships created among social service agencies, school, religion and civic organization, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, and supporting parents in raising their children in a safe and nurturing environment. Whereas current local initiative Prevent Child Abuse includes building resilience, a countrywide collaboration, adverse childhood experiencing, nurturing family programs, differential response, RCS wraparound services, Motherwise, and the protective factors. And whereas events being held for the month of April this year are the Pinwheel Challenge. The child abuse information is being shared on media for the month. April 23rd is the Advocacy Walk and Children's Festival will take place at Library Park in Lakeport. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Clearlake does here proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Clearlake and call upon its citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to prevent child abuse, thereby strengthening the community in which we live. Signed by me, Mayor. Dated April 7th, 2022. And we have some people coming up here. Awesome.
Thanks for coming, Anna and Brock.
Picking me. Hi, I'm Jamie White. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Thank you all for your continued support for the Child Abuse Prevention Proclamation and, as usual, supporting all of us. In the federal fiscal year of 2020, 3.9 million reports were made to Child Protective Services. If you think about that, we were under a pandemic, so who knows really how many were unclaimed and were unreported. So we still have a lot of work cut out for us. This year, their theme is Thriving Children and Families and Prevention with Purpose. By making commitments to purposeful action rather than just raising awareness, we can treat the root cause of maltreatment, and promote the safety and well-being of children across this country. All of our families need help sometimes, so make the commitment this month to learn new ways to strengthen our children and the family well-being. So every action that we take makes the well-being of children and families a priority. So focus on our family strengths and help children, youth, and families build resilience. So we have a very strong collaboration and relationship in this county, and we're very lucky that we do. So all of these agencies that we have, and some of them that aren't even here, we all work very well together to help prevent this. And that's a start to this, but it's definitely going to take everyone to do it. So I'm encouraging everybody this month to wear blue. A lot of you are wearing blue tonight. Pinwheel challenge. The dollar store has pinwheels right now. There's tons of pinwheels out there. Some are on back order. Get your pinwheel garden made and send the pictures to #Resilient We're having a fun competition for all the gardens that are posted on there, because we like competition in this county too. You know how that goes. And then also come and show your support to all of the children at our Advocacy Walk-In Children's Festival on April 23rd at Library Park. Did I miss anything? You guys good? You want to say something? Thank you, guys.
Thank you for all you do. We really appreciate it.
Let's not.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is presentation of a proclamation declaring April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas in 2021, Lake County agencies responded to the needs of 201 sexual assault victims and their significant others and/or family members. And whereas no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault on their own, and the partnership between public and private Lake County agencies is invaluable. And whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that children are being abused. 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18. And whereas Lake Family Resource Center has been instrumental in leading the way in the county of Lake in addressing sexual assault by providing 24-hour hotline services, continuous support, advocacy, and accompaniment to victims and survivors and their significant others. And whereas ending sexual assault in Lake County must include active public and private efforts to speak out against sexual violence, and it's time for all of us to start conversations, take appropriate action, and support one another to create a safer environment for all residents. And whereas staff and volunteers of Lake Family Resource Center Rape Crisis Center work year-round to encourage every person to speak out against sexual violence and support survivors to providing prevention, education, and survivor empowerment information. And whereas Lake Family Resource Center and the District Attorney's Office, Victim Witness Division, local law enforcement agencies, hospitals, and schools have set an important example of how forging collaborative relationship improves the quality of services for those impacted by sexual violence. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Clearlake does hereby designate the month of April 2022 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Clearlake and urges all local governments, schools, businesses, and community members to participate in the sponsored events this month to increase awareness and public support for creating communities free of violence and exploitation. It's signed by me, dated April 7th, 2022.
She is speaking now. Thank you so much. Thank you. So Gina passed around some teal ribbon pins. Teal is the color for sexual assault awareness, so if you guys want some, appreciate it. So 201 is the known number of sexual assault survivors in Lake County. If you do the math on that, that's going to be 3 a week. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, somebody is sexually assaulted in our county. We also know that 63% of sexual assaults go unreported. So for all of those unreported, please know that we believe you. Lake Family Resource Center has provided 2,060 services to survivors. We offer support during police interviews, forensic exams, counseling, and temporary shelter. All our services are free and confidential. You don't need to report the crime to receive services from us, and it does not matter when the crime was committed. It could be 35 years ago, you can still come and get services from us. We also have a 24-hour community crisis line, which is 888-485-7733. Lake Family Resource Center, Peyton is really cute back there. She's really speaking out, you know. Lake Family Resource Center has some great things we're doing for the month. So we have 201 teal flags outside of our Kelseyville office that represent all the survivors for the 2021. We also have Denim Day, and for those of you who may not know, Denim Day started in 1999 when an Italian Supreme Court overturned a sexual assault conviction because they said that the survivors' jeans were too tight. So we're asking everyone on Wednesday, the 27th, to wear denim. We also want to recognize and thank the Clearlake PD, who have been really great community partners to us. We know sexual assault isn't easy to talk about, so we want to thank you guys for the proclamation and for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you very much, what you do for the community.
Yes.
Okay, well, moving on to public comment. This is a time for any member of the public to address the City Council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forward under this public comment. The council cannot take action on non-agenda items. Concerns may be referred to staff or placed on the next available agenda. Please note, comments from the public will also be taken on each agenda item, and comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. We have any from the public here? Please come forward and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Tony Sarkis. The last Friday, I was filming a beat-up SUV being dragged onto a flatbed tow truck. The SUV had been sitting for 2 years in front of a blighted property. I can see this property from my residence. Just to clarify, I was standing at least 40 feet away from the flatbed and off to the side on a public road. So the tow truck driver called the police on me. Fast forward, Officer Diaz shows up on scene. One of the first things Diaz said to me was that I had the right to do what I was doing. After about 5 to 10 minutes later, the tow truck driver finally went back to work, which I then proceeded to film the SUV with no wheels being dragged up onto the flatbed. At this point, I was at least 45 feet away and still off to the side. I proceeded to take a couple of steps closer to get a better shot, and Diaz put himself in front of me, telling me I was not allowed. I asked Officer Diaz if I was being detained, and he said no. I asked Officer Diaz if he was giving me a lawful command, and he said no. Officer Diaz then said he was giving me a request to not step forward, to which I said, I respectfully decline. I then proceeded to take a couple steps forward to get a better shot. Then Officer Diaz used his body to prevent my free movement. Officer Diaz actually put his hands on me 3 or 4 times. Officer Diaz had no reasonable, articulatable suspicion of a crime. Therefore, Diaz had no authority over me. Early on in the interaction, I asked Officer Diaz if he was a feelings enforcement officer or a law enforcement officer. Public photography is a constitutionally protected activity covered under the First Amendment of the United States of America. What Diaz did was a civil rights violation. Well, it could have been. I crossed some of this out. I was kind of debating whether I should. Also, if a police officer violates someone's constitutional rights, they would lose their qualified immunity. Other than trying to block my camera and preventing my free movement, Officer Diaz showed very good professionalism, and it seems as if Officer Diaz was very well trained. The other officer, I did not get her name, was extraordinarily rude. Just to clarify, suing anyone is not my intention. I just wanted to peacefully exercise my First Amendment right to film in public. All I ask is that Chief White better train his officers about the First Amendment, particularly public photography and the right to free press. After all, when they took the job, they all took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm almost done. Brett with HD Excavating, based out of Lower Lake, is an awesome guy. Brett gave me the time out of his day to speak with me. XD Excavation did a great job on clearing the literally tons of trash. It's been 3 minutes. Thank you, Clearlake, for what you're doing with cleaning up all these properties.
Thank you.
I tried to keep that under 3 minutes.
You did pretty good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do we have any more public comment on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There is one hand raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, please let that person in, and let's hear what he or she has to say.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Richard Marks, and I'm a Regional Compliance Manager with the Construction Industry Force Account Council. We are a nonprofit organization that monitors public contract code and public works jobs. I am here to observe your City of Clearlake business for today, and I'm hoping that somebody from the council might consider pulling consent item number 13 for further discussion. Thank you.
Okay. You have the ability to pull a consent item as a public member. So when we come to the consent agenda, I will open it up to a public hearing, and you can request to pull it. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Jones might have an answer.
Mr. Jones, you have any more clarification on that?
Well, it depends on what our policy is. Typically, it's the only council member can actually pull an item. A member of the public can request it, and then if you consent, you can. I'm just reading. Our agenda could have said something different, but frankly, I think that's going to get pulled anyways because of some information Mr. Flora has. We'll discuss later.
All right. Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda. Are there any changes?
Mr. Mayor, I would request that we pull item number 13 for separate consideration.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion? Anybody else that wants to, any comments from the public on this?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
No other public comment, Madam Clerk, on this? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended with the pulling of item number 13.
Okay, can we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we'll have a vote. This time we'll go to our electronic voting.
Aye.
Did it work? Did it,
There you go.
okay, sorry. All right, the result of the vote, Madam Clerk.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Okay, we'll get back to item number 13. Mr. Flora?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So, as you could see from the staff report, this is a project we've been wanting to move forward. The bid opening was actually today, so we went ahead and put this on the agenda, anticipating that we'd be able to award a contract. We received only one bid. There was a bid from Epindio Construction for $522,096, which is significantly above our engineer's estimate of approximately $300,000. And so staff is recommending that council actually reject this bid and rebid the project.
Okay, we have any discussion in the council from this item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll open it to the public. Any comments from the public? No? I'll come, we'll bring it back to the council. Can I have? Okay, we'll listen. Go ahead, sir, or,
Well, that was kind of disappointing. I was hoping that maybe there would be a word for tonight. And who was that contractor, the one that bid?
Epindio Construction was the sole bidder.
any additional comments, sir?
No, I think that does it for me.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Can I have a motion to reject?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make the motion to reject the single bid submitted by Epindio Construction for the splash pad project.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Councilman Claffey. We'll go to our electronic vote.
Aye.
What was the result of the vote, Madam Clerk?
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
All right, we'll go to the first item of new business, which will be the emergency item added to the agenda.
Yes.
Laura?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. So, the federal appropriations process is allowing what is referred to as earmarks, or now community project funding proposals. And so we received information from Congressman Mike Thompson about the process for requesting community project be funded. And we would like to submit sort of a proposal for the Burns Valley Sports Complex and Recreation Center for funding. We're recommending that we make a request of not to exceed $2 million for this project. We think the project itself is kind of a good fit for the program. Each congressman is allowed to submit 15 proposals to the Appropriations Committee, and then they will review and make determinations on which ones get funded. The deadline to submit is next Friday, and since the council doesn't have a regular meeting between now and then, we appreciate putting it on the agenda to consider this project. And so what we would like is adopting this resolution that you've been provided, which is kind of a requirement or highly recommended for submitting a funding proposal. And then over the next week, if this is something that the council's okay with, we'll be asking for additional letters of support from different groups and individuals related to this project. So that's kind of the overview. Try to address any questions the council members may have.
Any questions from staff on this item? No? Okay, we open it to the public. Do we have any public comment on this? Either here or on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
No comments on Zoom, no hands raised.
All right, bring it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-19 and read by title only, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake to submit the Burns Valley Sports Complex and Recreation Center project for consideration as a community project funding proposal.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Kramer. We have a second by Councilwoman Overton. Go to our voting.
Unfortunately, because this item was added after the agenda, our system doesn't allow for adding items during a meeting.
Okay, we'll have a voice vote then. Okay,
Councilmember Kramer?
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey?
Aye.
Councilmember Overton?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock?
Aye.
Mayor Slutin?
aye, motion passes. Okay, we'll go item number 16. Award of contract for demolition of structures and abatement of property located at 14525 Lakeshore Drive. Mr. Lambert, are you presenting this item?
So good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. The purpose of this hearing is to authorize the city manager to execute a contract in the amount of $53,439 with Cherno Excavating Incorporated for the demolition of 14525 Lakeshore Drive. Upon consideration of the evidence and testimony, council may accept or deny the bid for demolition. Evidence on July 15th, 2021, staff asked the city council to authorize the city manager to execute the same contract with Cherno Excavating Incorporated. At that time, council took no actions and instead afforded the new property owner more time to reach full voluntary compliance. Since July 15th, 2021, the property owner has registered the property as a vacant commercial building and obtained a boarding permit. To date, engineered plans have not been submitted to staff, no building permits have been issued, and compliance has not been achieved. Some additional evidence was included in your council packet. Notices and legal documents served to the property owner by staff and the city attorney, as well as timelines submitted to staff by the property owner. Staff recommends to allow the city manager to execute a contract with Cherno Excavating Incorporated for the demolition of 14525 Lakeshore Drive. If after testing asbestos is found in an amount requiring specific remediation plans, the city manager may execute a change order contract to include additional funding for asbestos remediation. Additionally, the property owner has submitted a letter of appeal of an order to abate. If the city manager is authorized to enter into the contract with Cherno Excavating Incorporated, the city manager will not issue a notice to proceed until the appeal process is exhausted and only if the appeal is denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from staff, to staff?
No, sir.
If not, anybody? We open. Excuse me?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, anybody want to open it to the public? Anybody from the
I
public?
mean, I would clarify that this is about awarding the contract itself and not a time to like debate the merits of the appeal or not. That we have an appeal hearing scheduled. We'll deal with that as it moves forward. But our experience with this particular property owner especially is that nothing gets done at all unless there's significant pressure to do so. And so that's why we recommend continuing with the authorization to move forward pending the result of the appeal.
Okay, we'll open it to the public. Any public comment, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on Zoom. However, we have received an emailed comment.
Okay, could you please read that for us?
This was submitted by Bob Mingori. It states, some thoughts on demolition of Lakeshore Inn. Another one bites the dust. Over many years, we have seen the destruction by fire or demolition of some of downtown Clear Lake's more notable buildings. True, they were in bad shape due to poor maintenance, inattentive ownership, or outright neglect. Some have been replaced with little more than a building that just happened to fit on the lot, some with nothing at all. Mario's Lodge was a Friday stop for us old-timers, and when Mario died, it fell into disrepair and fell to the demolition hammers. The landmark lounge fell to an arsonist, as did Wayzita's. All three were a part of the history of Clear Lake in the 40s through the 70s and later. The Lakeshore Inn, the name by which I am familiar, is the last one of any note about to come under the demolition hammer. It was the Friday night place to be for the best prime rib around the lake. Granted, the place looks like a disaster. Many of its appendages are beyond repair and should be removed, and the whole building probably needs a lot of expensive work and time to restore. It is more than a coat of paint can address. However, a facelift, at least temporarily, would address the unsightly appearance of the facade while work on the rest of the building and systems could progress at a slower pace. A couple of years ago, the look of the place got the best of me, and I generated a quick rendering of the front exterior of the building as a suggestion to whomever were the owners at the time to address the front of the building. It was not intended to address all of the ills, but to temporarily provide a more appealing appearance. I could not see the interior, so doors and windows most likely have to be removed as restoration progressed. It was not intended to be structural in nature or address any of those problems, just to make it look better. A copy of that rendering appears below in the email. Too much water may be under the bridge at this point, but I would hope there is some way to achieve the upgrade you are ultimately looking for without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That concludes that statement.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring it back to the council. Any additional comments from the council? Councilman Kramer.
As you all know, I was one of the ones wanting to save this building. I'd still like to save this building. But over the preceding months, trying to work with the owners, I've run into the same frustrations that Officer Lambert has and City Manager Flora has. And I've come to the conclusion that City Manager Flora is right. The only way that these owners will do what they keep promising to do is if we continue to put the pressure on. So I'm going to vote to award this contract.
Okay.
Personally.
Any other comments from the council? If not, I entertain a motion.
I'll let somebody else do that.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize city manager to execute contract with Cherno Excavation in the amount of $53,439 for the demolition and abatement, and authorize the city manager to execute a change order if asbestos remediation is necessary.
A second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Purdock and a second by Councilman Claffey.
Listen, I'm still on the splash pad. And I'm going to submit it on that, and then since. All right. You'll go.
Refresh.
You show me where to hit refresh, and I'll do that.
Circle up the top. That one.
This may work good.
Perfect.
All right, what was the result of the vote, Madam Clerk?
Motion passes with the unanimous vote of the council.
Very good. We'll go to item number 17, consideration of Public Works Construction Project Manager's job description, authorization amendments to management benefit plan, and adoption of an amended 2021-22 salary schedule. Okay, Melissa Swanson, our city clerk, will handle this item. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. Your council is being asked to authorize the creation of a Public Works Construction Project Manager position within the Management Benefit Plan and authorize amendments to the Management Benefit Plan and fiscal year 2021-22 salary schedule. As stated in the staff report, since the passing of Measure V, the technical and professional staffing needs of the Public Works Department have increased exponentially. With a multitude of roads and construction projects currently in progress and continuing into the foreseeable city's future, it is staff's recommendation to create the Public Works Construction Project Manager position. This position would be responsible for the coordination and oversight of construction projects and ensure quality control for these projects from design through completion. Because of the technical expertise, experience, and oversight necessary, it is staff's recommendation that this position be placed within the same classification range as the Public Works Superintendent at range 60, 6533.87 to 8148.45 per month, or $80,444.98 to $97,781.38 annually. I can say that slower if you need to, but it is in the staff report. This position would be an at-will contract position. Additionally, in order to enhance retention of long-term employees and encourage internal upward mobility, it is staff's recommendation to modify the current management benefit plan to be consistent with the majority of the employee bargaining unit longevity benefits. Current longevity for management begins at 1% at 5 years and increases 0.5% until maxing out at 6% for 15 years. The proposed change would increase longevity to begin at 1% at 5 years and increase 1% each year to max out at 11% at 15 years. This change would potentially impact the proposed construction project manager position and 3 other current employees within the management unit. It is the hope with this change to encourage succession planning and long-term commitment to city service. Finally, staff proposes to modify the management and benefit plan to correct the amount of life insurance policy and line of duty policy to reflect the actual amount afforded to all employees in all bargaining units. If the council chooses to move forward with the proposed changes, it is appropriate to adopt resolutions number 2022-15 and 2022-16 by separate motions. I can answer questions if you have them.
Do you have any questions of staff? No, sir. We'll open it to the public. We have any public comment on this item? If not here, on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. It looks like Councilwoman Overton has a question.
So is this a general position that's, you said contract, but it's not, they're not an employee, but they are going to be an employee?
They are an employee. It's an at-will position like the rest of the management positions.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not,
I just like that section after you said multitude of projects. That made me feel really good about all the work you guys are doing.
All right.
Mayor, I'm ready.
Councilman Kramer.
I'm ready to move to approve motion, River Resolution number 2022-15, read by title only, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clearlake approving job description and salary level for the Public Works Construction Project Manager position and adoption of the revised fiscal year 2021-2022 City of Clearlake salary schedule.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. We have to, there are 2 resolutions on this item. We have to vote on them one by one,
First one
correct?
first, yeah.
Okay.
She'll get it. There they go.
Okay, Mr. or Mrs. City Clerk, has the vote been tallied?
Motion passes with the unanimous vote of the council.
All right, can I entertain a motion for Resolution 2022-16?
I'll go for it. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clearlake amending the management employees classification and benefits plan.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Claffey and a second by Councilwoman Overton. We'll go on our vote here.
Aye.
Has the vote been tallied, Madam Clerk?
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Very good. We'll go to item number 18, consideration of sale of vacant land located at 12121 Lakeshore Boulevard. Mr. Flora.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So as you know, we've been trying to eliminate some of the surplus property that the city has. Many of these parcels which we've had for years and years. So a lot of them are listed, and we've been able to sell a few, and we're working on selling a few other ones. This is a small parcel on the lake along Lakeshore Drive. It's not a buildable parcel, and I'm not exactly sure why the city picked this up along the way, but a new home was built adjacent to this recently sold, and the owners reached out to us wondering if they could pick the property up and, just add it to their very nice parcel. And we don't have any need for it. One less thing for us to maintain, and this is a very nice area and an extremely nice house, and we're confident that those property owners will be able to utilize it. So with that, just asking the council to authorize me to execute a sale agreement for this vacant land on Lakeshore Drive.
All right, do we have any questions from the council?
Just a comment, I support the sale. For the public's knowledge, this isn't anything that even would be large enough for a small park or our use. Went out and visited the property.
Yeah, it's very small. Any other comments from the council? We open it to the public. We have any public comment on this, Madam Clerk? Oh, if there is public comment in the council chamber, please come up and state your name, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Margaret Garcia, and I was just curious as to the square footage of the lot you guys are discussing, the size.
It's about 2,500 square feet, I think, isn't it?
Something like that. If you would like to know, I can look it up really quick.
All right, I was just curious as to the size of the lot.
It's below minimum size to build on
Which
it.
would be what, 5,000?
No,
Now,
about
or-
2,500, I think, is what I read somewhere.
No, the minimum.
What's a buildable lot?
Oh,
5,000.
Yeah,
yeah,
5,000 normally, yeah.
All right.
All right. Any other public comment? Any public comment on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
No hands are raised on the Zoom.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a sale agreement for the vacant land located at 12121 Lakeshore Drive in Clearlake.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. We'll go to our electronic vote.
Aye.
Motion passes with the unanimous vote of the council.
All right. We'll go to city manager and council member report. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, council members, a few items. So as of 12:01 on April 1st, the county's emergency bail schedule has been rescinded, which has been in place for, I guess, almost 2 years, which we believe is a really good thing. So there's a number of crimes that you can now be booked into jail for, including if you steal a vehicle. In fact, Chief White was sharing with us earlier today that one lady that was recently picked up maybe this week was quite surprised that she was getting more than a ticket for driving a stolen vehicle. So that will, of course, result in many more transports to the county jail, but certainly the added consequence that we've become accustomed to, it's good to have that back, and hopefully it will have an impact on many of the quality of life crimes that we're seeing in the city. As you know, there's a number of important county positions which are up for election in June, and some of those races are competitive. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing so far, that there's not really any debates or forums scheduled, but I am organizing the schedule for the May Judges Breakfast and have been able to arrange all of those competitive races to have sort of a mini debate at the Judges Breakfast in May. So the 2 district attorney candidates will be on May 5th. The assessor recorder candidates will be on May 12th. And the treasurer tax collector candidates will be on May 19th. And then even though this isn't a competitive race, I've asked Sheriff Martin to attend on May 26th, and he's agreed. So hopefully, if you're interested in those races, which I'm sure all of you are, this would be one good way to learn a little bit more about the candidates. Project of interest that I had an update, I'm sure a small update that the council will be interested in. As you know, the Elam tribe has been in the process of developing a travel center on Lakeshore Drive and moving through the Feed Trust process. We submitted comments on their environmental assessment a month or so ago. After several inquiries, I was able to get a response from the Bureau of Indian Affairs on the status of that project, and I would guess largely based on our recommendations, and I know Supervisor Sabatier submitted comments on the project as well. They are redoing the environmental assessment and will be recirculating that. So I'll keep you posted whenever that comes back around. So it is good that they listened to what were several major concerns in that environmental document. At the next meeting, we'll be bringing back, if everything goes as planned, some formal actions related to the Measure V Road Project financing package. Won't go into it now, but as we've worked through that process, there's been some additional kind of steps that have been requested by our bond counsel. And so next week, we are having a special meeting of the Measure V Committee on the 13th at 2 o'clock. And so basically, we're going to be going over the same, Ms. Young will be giving the same presentation that the council got, answering their questions about it, and then we're going to ask them to authorize the chair of that committee to send the city council a letter of support for the project and the approach. Especially with the weather that we're seeing this year, wanted to just give a quick reminder that there's a lot of vegetation out there. This is the time of year where that needs to be taken care of. The weather's, I think, caused a lot more growth than we would see normally at this time of year. Just so the council members know that we do have a maintenance contract for city properties now. That has been a challenge for us to maintain many of the properties that we had. We're in much better shape being on top of that. The Rhodey property out near Walmart, as you know, last year we worked with CAL FIRE and a lot of progress was made on that. They've done a little bit of work this spring, and then they're hoping to come back, I think, the week of the 18th and try to address some of the remaining issues. Our public works and code enforcement staff are doing some cleanup, and we'll be doing a lane closure for a couple of days to address the stuff right along Dam Road south of McDonald's there. And then over the next few weeks, notices will begin being sent out to property owners citywide if they're not in compliance with the vegetation ordinance, as happens every year. Normally it's several hundred, even near 1,000 notices get sent out. Hopefully, one of these years we get to a point where folks understand what the ordinance is and expect and are prepared for that. We would encourage the public who needs assistance with clearing their own lots to do what we do, which is tell them to contact the Clearlake Chamber of Commerce for their list of contractors to do this type of work, as the city does not recommend specific contractors. And then the final thing, I wanted to have Director Goodman give a brief update on the Sulphur Fire project.
Thank you, Mr. Flora, and happy to be back in town and happy to be able to give this report to you, Mr. Mayor and council members. As of Monday, the FDR on the Sulphur Fire project is underway, and basically the paving trail is about 48 hours behind the FDR, so we will begin to see paving. We should begin to see paving right away. There is, well, after 48 hours, the next step is to micro crack everything, and that provides a little bit of flexibility to that that underlying base material that has been treated with cement, and so it's important that it not be too rigid. And so after that microcracking is done, then they can begin with the paving. Paving will the microcracking trails by 48 hours. The paving is about 4 days. So we should see the paving starting probably Monday is what is scheduled. Although they are actually ahead of schedule at this point. I know there are a lot of people who live out in that area that are going through some tough times as far as being able to get around effectively. We apologize for that. We knew that was going to be the case, and we were doing everything we can to minimize the impact and to keep people informed about where work is, where possible alternative routes that they might take, things like that, to minimize the pain. This is a very big project, a lengthy project, and it's going to be done in an amazingly short amount of time, but it will be a little bit brutal for that short period of time. And so we hope that you will do the best you can. Please help our workers to stay safe in the work zones, and they will get this work done as quickly as possible.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Report.
Right, Councilman Kramer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have much to report. A couple of meetings that would normally happen before this meeting were canceled. I did, just as an early announcement of the Lower Lake Days Parade and Street Festival on May 29th of this year. I've got to do that because I'm on their board. And then with regard to, I'm going to leave the announcements of upcoming events with the Clearlake Chamber of Commerce to Vice Mayor Purdock. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Overton.
Yes, mainly what I had to respond to was I went to the League of Cities, our regional meeting, Cal Cities now, got to remember to say that, still hard. And I did voice our concerns on the SB 9. They are also very concerned about that, and as they say, it's going to be a hard, they can fight, but it's probably not going to change. Just to let you guys know, they don't see any, foresee future of that actually changing. So, but still, we do our fights and hope for the best. So, we had a great presentation on what they did over there in Ukiah on their Main Street. Their planning person did a great presentation, very impressed with him, and we walked around. So I look at their wide sidewalks. I think that's something that is really nice to have. I hope that's kind of in our design, or it was, was in our design, hope they still is. So I'm looking forward for ours to look as good as theirs did. I like the way they did the outlet on some of the, in order to deter the crossing, way how they did the outlets to have a little rounder out where the crosswalks were to slow the traffic down, was, you know, I think a great idea. And I know that originally we had talked about doing that too, so I think that's gonna be some things we see here. So, you know, things are moving forward with them, and they have a lot of different things they're fighting, of course. Most of the things that they're, you know, they're you know, posing a lot of stupid things that are just things we would never even consider that people put up. So, you know, so, and they're looking forward to having our meeting at the conference. So hopefully they try to get it to do it not during everything else. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Councilman Claffey.
Can I start with a question? So I spoke with Ms. Faramontes recently about Clear Lake Community Cleanup Day. Do we have some details on that?
I don't myself. I'm not sure if anyone else knows. We'll get back with you on that.
Thank you. I know it's scheduled for, I believe, April 23rd. We have a couple of folks from Rotary who are excited to go out and help. I don't know enough about it to be up here and present, but I just wanted to let folks know that that is coming up, and we're excited to help out cleaning up the city. The other meeting that I went to this week, or this period, was the Visit Lake County board meeting, and we're continuing to move forward. I've learned of a paper shortage in the country that's preventing us from creating a specific map type, but otherwise all the other promotions are moving forward as planned, and they're doing good things. So that's it.
All right. Vice Mayor Purdock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Gosh, a lot's been going on around here. So more of a PSA, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor. Sure. Events that will hopefully bring business and some revenue into the city. The Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce has been working diligently to bring the Toyota Series Western Division Bass Tournament to the city of Clear Lake. It's going to be held this month, the end of this month, April 28th through the 30th, 3 days of fishing. I'd like to thank city staff for being so supportive and seeing that this event can become a reality. I encourage any businesses that could benefit and also want to be a part of this to contact our chamber manager at the Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce here in town. That is one event that's happening most recently. Next, Adventist Health Clear Lake and Blue Zones Lake County Project will be hosting a Blue Zones kickoff and the Hope for Health event coming up May 14th. That's a Saturday. The park and Austin Resort property will be open to the public beginning at 10 a.m. We'll be closing down at about 3 to 3:30, and then we want to welcome the community to stay for a concert in the park. And we have a headliner band, I'm told. I can't remember the name of the band, but they'll be playing from about that time, 3:30 or 4 o'clock, for a couple of hours in the park. We're very excited about that. And it's really going to be a great event. I hope everybody turns out. Next, we have in June coming to Highland Park, a Cruising into Summer car show. That's going to be hosted again by the Chamber of Commerce. And I believe the Clear Lake Car Club and the No Name Car Club are helping to support. June 12th at 11:30 to 4 p.m. We're looking to have some pretty nice rides coming into town. And again, if you're interested in sponsorship, whether you have car insurance sales or you want to send some what do they call those cool icy treats they have in Hawaii? Shave ice. Anything like that. We'd love to have you participate and be a part of the action. The Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce had a wonderful joint meeting on Tuesday. I'd like to thank Mr. Flora for being there. I believe he was probably there to see the presentation from our economic development. Is that correct? Yeah. Nicole Flora was there and offered some amazing options for business owners and funding sources through grants that are available to businesses to renovate properties, to help start up new businesses. Some really incredible things. I hope everybody would listening or hearing my voice would consider that if you've got a building that, again, needs some help along Lakeshore, Olympic Drive, or anywhere in the county for that matter. Ms. Flores is doing some amazing things and is there to help us. So, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
All right. I attended the LAFCO meeting, and obviously the big item on that is the South Lakeport annexation, which a protest vote was accepted, and we'll meet again on it May 18th, I believe, somewhere around there. There was one person that put their protest in on time, but several other people came forward at that point in time to not go forward with that annexation. I was at the Canocti office, and where they turned the solar, they have a big new solar panel, and they turned those on. I also participated with a video with Dean Cortez and Superintendent Salato on the Promise program, where where students graduating in high school in the city of Clearlake get all the miscellaneous fees paid for to go to the Woodland College. I had also attended an appointment of the trustee for this area for Woodland College. He quit, and a new person was appointed. His name is Doug Harris. I wanted to make sure that that person was from Lake County. He's a retired docent from the college. And during that time, I had a conversation with I forget what his real title is, the Chancellor. Yeah, the Chancellor, Mr. James Hoopas, and he has some ideas of how he wants to help with economic development here at the college. So that's my report.
Mayor, can I add one item?
Have a redo? Go ahead.
Yep.
Everybody gets a read over once.
Thank you for this indulgence. Councilmember Overton mentioned you guys downtown streetscape, and I just wanted to say a couple of things. One, obviously, some of the elements that you see there is certainly what we hope to see on Lakeshore Drive. Miss Young has been, we did an RFP for design work to do the construction documents, interviewed firms. We have selected one. We were actually hoping to have a contract approval on this agenda tonight, but we're still negotiating a few items, but I'm hoping to bring that back to the council, hopefully at the next meeting, for review and approval. So I just wanted to add that.
Mr. Vice Mayor Purdock, you have a do-over?
I do. I'm feeling really bad after listening to Mr. Goodman's report. Everyone is smiles out there on the west side of town. Thank you very much for getting all this work done. It is greatly appreciated by the residents that were impacted by the sulfur fire.
Yeah, obviously, both you and I live in that area.
Yeah.
And,
We'll struggle with a couple of weeks of traffic delays, trust me.
I mean, coming into town early this morning was an hour delay, and coming back was 45 minutes, but I'm just fine with it.
So with that mayor's report and advice, stay out of the area would be the, if you don't live there, don't go look, because there's a lot of work happening all at once.
All right, any future agenda items?
No, sir.
If not, we adjourn to closed session. We have a 5-minute break here.